morning. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel. It's like a 10 on a part series, The Week That Was, College Football History and Review, the 1964 college football season. It's a new season I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be doing my overview, like I always do, and then talk about the games that were played during week one. There's a lone game that was played September 12th, 1964, but I'm going to go over week one. The games were played on September 19th, 1964, and that'd be it. So let's get into it. 1964 college football season was the year of the Notre Dame Miracle, ready for primetime thriller and Arkansas holiday. Notre Dame, which truly could be called America's team long before such a term ever was applied to the Dallas Cowboys, had fallen on sorry times. When Terry Brennan was fired along with his so-so 32-18 record after the 1958 season, former pro coach Joe Courage was hired to emancipate the slumping Irish. Luckless Courage managed 3-5-5 season with a disastrous 2-8 mark in 1960. And amid hefty injury list and chance of Joe must go, one-year interim coach Hugh DeVore managed to no better, going 2-7 in 1963. One of the architects of Notre Dame's demise had been Ara Parseghian, coach of Northwestern, disadvantaged waifs of the Big Ten. In 4 years, Parseghian's Wildcats, with far inferior talent, beat the Irish each time. So in 1964, America's most famous Roman Catholic University, his teams, known as the Fighting Irish, hired an Armenian Presbyterian as its new coach, and a football miracle occurred. Parseghian retooled his personnel and found stars in halfback turned in Jack Snow and obscure quarterback John Hewitt, Heisman winner M. Wakeman, who was found far down DeVore's depth chart. Sometimes it takes very little to completely change a team's makeup, and oh, what a difference positive attitude coaching made. Suddenly, Notre Dame won its first 9 games, beating nemesis Purdue, Roger Staubach's crippled Navy team, and Michigan State. Hidden in the Irish resurgence was that Purdue was their only victim that would end the winning record except the season-ending foe, Southern California. A win in Los Angeles for the top-ranked and favorite Notre Dame on Thanksgiving Saturday was to complete a storybook national championship for Parseghian in his debut year in South Bend. But a late touchdown catch by Trojans wide receiver Rod Sherman gave spoiler USC a huge comeback for a 20-17 upset. But the AAW chose co-champion Oregon State as its Rose Bowl delegate, and many in Los Angeles were outraged by the choice of the Trojans' magnificent win over Notre Dame. But witty coach John McKay advised Trojan backers to take it easy, reminding them that 600 million Chinese couldn't care less about the indiscretions against Southern California. The best punchline of the year came from Michigan State coach Duffy Daugherty, whose Spartans were coming off a couple of so-so years. The journalist was studying a preseason roster and seriously asked Daugherty whom he was most pleased to see return. Without batting an eye, Daugherty said, "Me." The AP national champion was still determined by a vote taken prior to the bowls. Alabama won it only to be upset by Texas in a stirring Orange Bowl. The landmark game was the first Orange Bowl played at night, a primetime TV thriller, and debuting his infamous white shoes, which was, Crimson Tide quarterback Joe Namath, who was back from a knee injury. Now, the infamous white shoes, which were not meant as a fashion gimmick, just novel-looking shoes crafted to accommodate special, safer cleats. Stacked on top of 3 daylight bowls, the night game created about 10 hours of TV football for the first time ever, and pushed sports deeper into the mainstream entertainment. Jack Gould, at the time TV critic of the New York Times, thought all-day football was overkill. He wrote, "A TV set owner last night had visions of football prospering to the point of extinction. The human mind does have a saturation point." NBC, in a conspiratorial liaison with Orange Bowl officials and the City Fathers of Miami, made the longest New Year's in the history of football. Gould also hadn't seen anything yet. How wrong could he be? After schools went to court to regain their TV rights in the early 80s. There would be 10 hours of college football on video sets every Saturday. ESPN was delivered by the late 70s and All Sports Network that was hugely dependent on college sports. On its heels came the Movie Channel, the Cartoon Network, Turner Classic Movies, Comedy Central, the Food Channel, Speed Channel, Soap Network, and the Golf Channel. The human mind hasn't been saturated quite yet, Mr. Gold. Another postseason game, New Orleans Sugar Bowl, marked a new era. At the 1955 season, the Sugar Bowl had invited Pittsburgh to meet Georgia Tech, and the fact that the Panthers had Bobby Grier, an African American, starting at fullback caused a major issue in the segregated South. The Sugar Bowl committee took care of that in its quiet manner. For the next 8 seasons, no team other than one from the segregated Atlantic Coast, Southeastern, and Southwest conferences was invited to play the SEC champion in New Orleans. But after the 1964 season, Syracuse, with 8 blacks on its roster, was invited to meet Louisiana State in the first fully integrated Sugar Bowl, the last such postseason game to embrace the new order. The Football Writers Association, which polled many of the same voters as the AP ballot, made its national champion selection after the bowl games. For the 6th time in 11 years, the FWAA deferred with the AP poll, and this time selected Arkansas as its title list after Frank Boyle's Razorbacks beat Nebraska in the Cotton Bowl. Arkansas was the only team, other than the non-bowling Princeton, still standing undefeated after the postseason. The entire state of Arkansas closed down to honor its beloved Hogs on February 5th, a holiday declared by Governor Orville Faubus. Now, one wonders why bowl games were discounted as elite for so long. If AP writers and UPI coaches were comfortable staging a pre-season poll that clearly was based on soft data like past reputation, the previous year's results, and the ever-popular returning Letterman count, why not a postseason poll? The final postseason polls were still a few years away, and it took the sport's most anticipated showdown, 1966 Michigan State Notre Dame tussle, to really prompt full focus on reaching for the national championship. The 1964 season had an oddity that set it aside from all others. Because complete free substitution was still a season away, the Rules Committee allowed free movement of players when the clock was stopped, permitted 2 substitutes with the clock running. The fathers of the college game had decided the pro games better rested players who played exclusively on offense or defense, kept NFL and AFL games moving on a sharper pace. The college coaches have preferred unlimited substitution for many years. The last straw poll in 1963 showing 516 to 169 in favor. It is interesting to note that 1964 souvenir programs printed by home collegiate teams mostly listed only 11 starters. Many players still played on both sides of the ball, but the trend was to employ specialists at quarterback, wide receiver, the kicker, the linebacker, and the secondary, so that when all was added up, virtually every team sported separate offensive and defensive units. Blackie Sherrod, terrific writer of the Dallas Morning News, phrased it best when he wrote that rules makers have been signing up to unlimited substitution, as it were, a souvenir hand grenade in the attic trunk. It was this reluctance that helped bury the college game behind the pros. Now, there were milestones for the 1964 season. First time since 1952 that virtual free substitution was granted by NCAA Rules Committee. Any number of players were permitted to be substituted when the clock stopped. 2 players were allowed to enter games when the clock was running. Charter member Georgia Tech withdrew from Southeastern Conference after 31 seasons to become independent. Oregon State joined AAW, thus, in effect, reinstituting former Pacific Coast Conference that had disbanded in strife after the 1958 season. So the longest winning streaks entering the college football season for 1964 was Texas had the longest winning streak with 11-game winning streak, and there was a tie for the 8-game winning streak between Arizona State and Mississippi State. So let's get into the coaching changes that took place. Brigham Young, Tom Hudspeth, California Ray Wiltsey, Georgia Vince Dooley, Miami Charlie Tate, Alex Gase, Northwestern, Eric Parsegian for Notre Dame, Gomer Jones, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Doug Dickey, Wake Forest, Bill Tate, Burt Clark, Washington State. Now the preseason poll for the AP, preseason number 1 was Mississippi, followed by number 2 Oklahoma, number 3 Illinois, number 4 Texas, number 5 Ohio State, number 6 Alabama, number 7 Washington, number 8 Auburn, number 9 Syracuse, and number 10 Navy. So let's get into it. September 12th, 1964, that's when the season started. The standalone game was UCLA playing against Pittsburgh, where UCLA beat Pittsburgh 17-12. Now, no West Coast team had ever won in Pitt Stadium in 10 tries. But UCLA went 61 yards to quarterback Larry Zeno's touchdown pass to halfback Steve Durbin early in the game. Never ambushed the Afro. Zeno finished up tidy first half with a touchdown pass to end Dick Richard a 25-yard field goal as halftime clock ticked to double zeros. Panthers quarterback Freddie Mazzarek scored behind guard Bernie LaQuinta's block in second quarter, but was benched with injury when quarterback Kenny Lucas drove Pitt to his only second half score and fullback Barry McKnight's short touchdown plunge. Now let's get into the official week one. This is week one for September 19th, 1964. This is week one of the 1964 season. So this is the first week that took place. All right, we're gonna start with Boston College pulling off the upset, beating number 9 Syracuse 21-14. Star Boston College end Bill Cronin made leaping touchdown catch between two defensive backs to snare the quarterback Larry Marzetti's the sprint 55-yard fourth down bomb with 12 seconds left. Syracuse had tied it at 14-14 on quarterback Wally Mall's sneak and 2-point run with less than 2 minutes to play. It followed Orange's only pass connection of day. Quarterback Rich King's 35-yard toss to sophomore halfback Floyd Little. Fullback Jim Nance led Syracuse's 262-yard ground maneuvers. It was stymied at key times by excellent Eagles defense led by linebacker Ron Gentile. Next, Navy, number 10 team in the country, beat Penn State by a score of 21-8. Pair of ranked Eastern foes squared off with Penn State. Presented defensive plan that foiled Navy quarterback Roger Staubach as never before. Staubach was 5 for 13 for 44 yards, 12 carries for minus 14 yards rushing, netted only 30 yards on 25 carries as he was repeatedly sacked. But Staubach sneaked forward first quarter touchdown and a 7-0 lead that stood up behind midshipmen's fine defensive play. Lions suffered 4 turnovers, most damaging being 57-yard interception for a touchdown by defensive back Duncan Ingram for Middy's 14-0 lead in the third quarter. On following drive, the Lions moved within 14-8 as fullback Tom Urbanek charged 43 yards to set up a wingback Tim Montgomery for 12-yard touchdown reverse. Now, Navy soon held its 17-yard line primarily because Penn State end Bill Huber dropped likely touchdown pass at 2-yard line, and Middy's guard linebacker Fred Marlin soon grabbed critical interception, set up the clinching fourth quarter touchdown, scored by halfback Tom Leeser. Next, number 2 Oklahoma beat Maryland by a score of 13-3. Just 4 minutes remained, and Maryland was ready to celebrate one of its greatest wins, 3-0 spoiler of Gomer Jones' Oklahoma coaching debut. Jones looked to his bench to insert strong-arm third-string quarterback John Hammond, who was surprised by pitching perfect 90-yard bomb to halfback Lance Retzel for a 6-3 lead. Now Maryland was forced to come back. The Terrapins quarterback Phil Petrie was soon picked off by Oklahoma defensive end David Voyles. It set up as soon as the quarterback Mike Ringer for a clinching touchdown run. An outstanding Terps defense really made Maryland kicker Bernardo Grampson early fourth quarter field goal stand up. Maryland's defenders who sparkled included John Kinney and guards Jerry Fishman and Fred Joyce, and they bottled up Sooner star fullback Jim Grisham and their rush offense. North Carolina State beat North Carolina by a score of 14-13. NC State used consistently tough defense and 2 critical interceptions of Tar Heels sophomore quarterback Danny Tolbach to upset North Carolina. Defensive end Tony Goldmont picked off Tolbach's first collegiate pass to give Wolfpack 7-0 halftime lead with a 45-yard interception for a touchdown. NC State fullback linebacker Pete Farzariano, who had 69 yards rushing, 10 carries, a touchdown, 9 tackles on defense, grabbed the interception in the fourth quarter at Hill's 39-yard line and followed quickly with 38-yard touchdown run up the middle as in Goldmont's block and secondary erased two tacklers. So with 1:42 left, Tobot rallied his North Carolina mates and hit sophomore end Billy Darnell's 3 times to 18-yard line and found halfback Ken Willard in left flat for 9-yard touchdown pass. Tobot went for win with 48 ticks left to go on the clock, but missed a 2-point pass traveling NC State quarterback defensive back Ron Skosnick swatted it down. Wolfpack rushed for 187 yards as tackles Rosie Amato and Glenn Sasser opened consistent holes. Next, South Carolina. Duke played against each other in this matchup in a 9-9 tie. That was the end result of this ball game. His favorite Duke made 2 mistakes and each led to scores by the Gamecocks and early going. Blue Devils and punter Rob Stewart bobble snap and dunk punt straight up in air for 12 yards to Duke 46-yard line. South Carolina quarterback Dan Reeves hit 2 passes and converted 4th down run for 9 yards to 16-yard line. Carolina halfback Larry Gill slashed 4 yards for touchdown 4 plays later, but blue shirt defensive back Mike Shaspy blocked Cox's extra point try. So Duke quarterback Scotty Glacken began hitting passes in the second quarter for 34 and 11 yards that led to kicker Stewart's 34-yard field goal. Bruising fullback Mike Curtis carried on 7 plays and scored from 1-yard line on 49-yard Devils touchdown drive in third quarter. Conversion kick was missed, which allowed Birds kicker Jack McCaffrey to tie it with 30-yard field goal with 1:30 to play. But on the last drive, Reeves hit passes of 10, 6, and 9 yards and made a 4th down and 1 rollout for the first down at the Duke 16-yard line. Next 3 plays went 3 yards, so McCaffrey kicked a 3-pointer. Next, Alabama, number 16 in the country, beat Georgia by a score of 31-3. Vince Dooley began his long career as Georgia coach, but Alabama was superior foe on this night in Tuscaloosa. Back from year-end suspension of 1963, quarterback Joe Namath clicked on 16 of 21 for 167 yards passing and sparkling running, with 55 yards and 11 carries, netted 3 touchdowns, outgaining whole Bulldogs team by himself. Namath racked up 222 yards of offense without trying a single second-half pass for Coach Bear Bryant, who mercifully called in Rains to keep score down. Now, Crimson Tide had gone 80 yards in 12 plays on the second possession of the first quarter, and despite 15-yard holding penalty near University of Georgia goal line, halfback Hudson Harris slashed over from 5-yard line. Bulldogs kicker Bob Eder kicked 26-yard field goal in the second quarter. The sophomore quarterback Lynn Hughes connected with halfback Don Porterfield for 43-yard gain to 11-yard line. Alabama went 66 yards to Namath's 8-yard touchdown sprint for 14-3 halftime match. Tide earned 10 points in third quarter for 24-3 lead as halfback defensive back. Kicker David Ray, who had an interception, made a 27-yard field goal and named from wedge for a touchdown. Right, next. The battle for the sun in the Sunshine State. Florida State shut out Miami 14-0. Florida State wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, his usual impeccable self versus Miami, caught 9 passes for 165 yards and tallied both Seminoles touchdowns. Meanwhile, Biletnikoff's nervous parents watched younger son, the Hurricanes quarterback Bob Biletnikoff, suffer through Miami's 5 for 20 for 79 yards. Passing night he shared with fellow unseasoned quarterback Rick Swan. Seminoles went 79 yards in the first quarter as quarterback Steve Titsey hit passes of 15-27 yards before rifling his 15-yard touchdown to Biletnikoff and right end zone corner. FSU's second touchdown drive of 63 yards came in the second quarter, thanks mostly to 3 connections from sophomore quarterback Ed Pritchett to Biletnikoff, but when Pritchett was dumped back to the 16-yard line, Tennessee entered to fling touchdown to Biletnikoff for 14-0 lead, 1:20 before halftime. Miami found FSU left 11-yard line twice in the second half, but lost ball on downs each time. So inexperienced Canes lost the view of Coach Charlie Tate. Next, in a low-scoring affair, Northwestern beat Oregon State by a score of 7-3. After Oregon State fell by inches to Mike first down at 4-yard line, Wildcats fullback Steve Murphy had 94 yards, rushing on 24 carries and a touchdown. Foul exchange of punts by Cappy 96-yard drive early in the second quarter with 1-yard touchdown plunge off left guard to make Happy Northwestern debut for Coach Alex Gates. Early failure of Wildcats run attack prompted quarterback Tommy Myers to hit 6 of 8 passes on Cat's long scoring assault. Oregon State never came close to firing up its offense, as Northwestern defenders such as defensive end Pat Riley and defensive tackle Joe Tizeko, but constant back pressure on Beavers quarterbacks Paul Brothers and Marv Croston. Oregon State defensive tackle George Carr recovered fumble by halfback Woody Campbell at Northwestern 47-yard line in second quarter. After Wildcats defensive back Jim Day made touchdown saving tackle on wide receiver Bob Grimm's 26-yard catch. Defense rose up to force kicker Steve Clark's 32-yard field goal. The Northwestern fashion only threat of second half. 61-yard trip to 5-yard line, but Cats came away with missed field goal try. Texas Tech beat Mississippi State 21-7. Arkansas beat Oklahoma State 14-10 as little quarterback Billy Gray switched by Arkansas to cornerback to start season, returned under center in second quarter to lead touchdown drives of 54 yards. Swift Razorbacks bring back Jim Lindsey, sprinted 18 yards to score with 3:01 to go before halftime. After Gray passed 23 yards to end Jerry Land, Oklahoma State tied at 7-7 in third quarter as halfback Larry Elliott followed solid running of fullback Raw Garrison to plunge for 1-yard touchdown. Gray passed 25 yards, dashed for 9 yards, sneaked for the first down at Cowboy 2-yard line in third quarter. Just before touchdown, tailback Bobby Burnett sliced over for touchdown very late in the third quarter. Oklahoma State kicker Charles Durkee, who earlier missed 2 field goal tries, connected from 37 yards out early in the fourth quarter. But it would be last of 4 scoring opportunities for Cowboys. California beat Missouri 21-14. New coach Ray Wilsey got California off to a good start with upset Missouri that featured strong passing and improved defense. Bears scored first 2 times that had ball. Quarterback Craig Morton making first of one of his 2 touchdown passes when Morton hit in Jack Schwab with 18-yard touchdown in second quarter. Cal led 21-0. Quarterback Gary Lane rallied Missouri, hitting wingback Earl Denny with 8-yard touchdown pass in final seconds of first half, added 2-point run earlier in second quarter. Tigers halfback Johnny Rowland appeared headed for touchdown from 1-yard line, but Bears safety Jim Hunt shoved blocker into Rowland to prevent score. Lane threw another touchdown pass in third quarter and had Tigers in stride in fourth quarter, only to suffer a pair of interceptions to Hunt at 12, 16, and 22-yard lines. Martin's air success against Missouri convinced the coach Dan Devine to move selfless Rowland to defensive back, thus showing up Tigers' pass defense, but costing Rowland any chance to be had. The chances he had as an All-American running back. Next, in a baseball-like score of a football game, this was his baseball score, Air Force upset number 7 Washington by a score of 3-2. It's like this is definitely a baseball score. And pitchers do wrapped up oddball batch of Saturday games as Washington became 15 in the AP hold to lose. Air Force got field goal from kicker Bart Holiday in first quarter after Washington defensive back Tom Greenlee was flagged for interception on his brother Falcons and Prince Greenlee. Now Huskies fullback Jimmy Coffey ran for 140 yards and 26 carries. Fell 6 inches short of goal line on fourth down in fourth quarter. Punter Ken Jaggers free kicker. Falcons out of danger after the Air Force took intentional safety with slightly more than 3 minutes to go. Washington State beat Stanford 29-23 in Spokane. Single play helped with switch outcome of AAW Slugfest and came with Stanford up 23-22 and was created by Wazoo halfback defensive back Clarence Williams, who stole ball after Indians halfback Dick Ragsdale caught pass with 2 minutes left at Washington State 37-yard line. Stanford was assessed for 10-yard penalty and fumble melee, and it launched drive to Cougars quarterback Tom Robb's winning touchdown sweep with 25 seconds left. Williams and Jerry Shaw caught 20-yard passes on a winning march. Early Washington State had taken 16-13 halftime lead to overcome long-range field goals of Indians kicker Brandon Beck, who booted 3 field goals, including 52-yard three-pointer. Stanford defense forced Cougars' first point in third quarter. Quarterback Terry DeSilvio rallied trial to his 8-yard touchdown run, but Stanford missed clinching outcome when its protracted drive failed at the Wazoo 1-yard line early in the fourth quarter. So that concludes the look at the week that was college football history review and the overview of the 1964 college football season. There was one game that was played on September 12th, 1964 between UCLA and Pittsburgh, but the week 1 started with September 19th, 1964. So that was week 1. So that concludes this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do a video of this magnitude tomorrow as we continue on the 1964 college football season in succession. Like, subscribe, and comment on the channel whenever you get a chance to watch the video. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.